I think we can start the meeting. We were creating.
Recording in progress.
Morning once more, honorable members and officials.
Morning, Chair.
Morning, Chair.
Good morning, Chairperson.
Yeah,
morning,
it's Friday
Chairperson.
today. Morning. Let's start our meeting. It's Friday today. If things goes well, at least by 12, we need to be out of this meeting. I don't know whether you agree on that, but we're not going to leave anything behind. The meeting is officially opened. I wish to welcome everyone who is in the meeting with the expectation that SALGA has already joined us, which we are grateful to be with them. We understand that they were busy with the conference in Cape Town, which we wish all the best in their new Atlantica conference of them. Lindy?
Chair.
Introduction is critical on this one because we've got people that are not honorable members and that are not part of us. Can we do that first? Is SALGA in?
Yes, Chairperson, we're in.
Thank you very much. My name is Nonko Simvana. I am the member of the committee. I am given an opportunity to chair for the portfolio committee. I will request other members to also introduce themselves. Just put on the video and then switch it off. Can we go to the next honorable member that's present?
Good morning, colleagues. Sorry, Letitia, you go.
Hi, good morning. I am
Morning.
Letitia. I am a member of this portfolio of social development. Thank you.
Thank you, Leti.
Good morning, colleagues. I'm Liesel van der Merwe. I'm also a member of the Portfolio Committee on Social Development.
Thank you, Liz.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Paulita. I'm a member of the portfolio. I'm from the EFF. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonit.
Good morning, Chairperson. Alexandra Abrams here. Good morning. And
Good morning.
Chairperson, I'm sure the Honorable Aris may not know this, but she does need to change her background from a party regalia to a normal background. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, all.
Humble
Good
apologies.
morning. Thank you. Thank you for reminding her. Thank you. Thank you, Alex.
Good morning, Chair. I'm Gisela Opperman, and I'm a member of this portfolio committee.
Morning, Giselle.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, honorable members. Chairperson, my video is not well.
Your network, Honorable, stop.
My connectivity is external connectivity later stage. Thank you. I'm sorry for this.
Thank you very much, Honorable Stock. The next one.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Bridget Masango. I'm the member of the Portfolio Committee. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you, Bridget. Thank you. There are still
Morning, Chairperson.
members. Yes.
My name is Kensani Bilangulu. I'm the member of the Portfolio Committee.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Kate. Thanks, Kate. And there is a member that is outstanding. I don't know whether she has already joined. Jane, I don't see her. Well, we will give her an opportunity to introduce herself when she joins. Can we then give a chance to SALGA team to introduce themselves? Thank you, honorable members.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson and the Portfolio Committee. I am Nozibele Makanda, the Portfolio Head for Health, Community Services and Inclusivity at SALGA. With me is Mandu Malane, Miss Mandu Malane. Mandu, please open your video if you are connected. She is the specialist responsible for social development at SALGA. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Again, we wish to tender our apologies for our national chairperson for this portfolio. She could not join us due to the conference proceedings starting now at 9 as well. So we are fully representing SALGA. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nozi. Thank you very much, Nozi. And we really appreciate for your presence. We understand, as I have said in the opening, that I know that you are busy with your conference, and definitely the last day is very critical for the resolution. So we really appreciate that. That's why we're not going to hold you for a long time here, so that we are able to join even the other one, the conference. Okay.
Appreciate that, Chairperson. Thank you.
Okay. Lindy, with whom are you in the platform?
Good morning, Chair and members. We have your support team consists of Yoli, Siavuya, Tandi, and Fungile. I didn't receive any apology from our legal advisor. And we also have a state law advisor from the Justice Department, Liz Naidu. She's also with us. So from the support, we have those support team members. Member Mutaung has just joined while I'm speaking to you. She's also present. Thank you very much.
Honorable Mutaung, can you introduce yourself?
Good morning, Chairperson.
Morning.
My name is, and the colleagues, officials, my name is Anastasia Mutaung. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Anastasia. For now, we have managed to introduce ourselves all. At least we understand who's in the meeting and who's not in the meeting. If anyone joins and we are not aware of, Ulindi will also indicate on that. We are also grateful to have that Justice, the legal advisor from Justice is with us. We also wish to make a special welcome to her. Then if that is the case, will you please, Lindy, flight the agenda? Because I know for a fact that what is following in the agenda, it's apologies. Thank you very much, Lindy. There is the confirmation of attendance of the MPs and also officials. Do we have DSD, Lindy, with us?
Hey.
Hello?
Sorry, Chair. No, sorry, I was muted. I was trying to unmute. I sent the invitation to Isabella, who's the DDG, and to the PLO. they should have been attending, especially the respective DDG, just to take note of issues that will emanate from the discussion. I don't see any one of them as yet. They can just confirm is there anyone, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Can we then go to the apologies, Lindy? Do you have
Chair,
any?
I've received only one apology from member Stock, who will be in and out of the meeting. I think he will be out for 30 minutes and then rejoin the meeting. I think she is transiting to somewhere. So that is the apology. And I also wish to inform you, Chair, that Mama Jane just joined while I'm speaking.
Okay, let's give over to Mama Jane to also introduce herself. Otherwise, we have taken note of the message from Honorable Stock. We understand that she was in the house and she, in fact, he did very well in the house yesterday as a member of the cluster and the leader of the Can we chance to Honorable Jane Mangani? I'm sure she's struggling to join. Network is sometimes problematic to our gadgets.
I've just joined her.
Seemingly. Introduce yourself, Honorable Member, because we've got a team that is not aware of us, that doesn't know us.
Okay, my name is Jane Wakamanganyi, the member of Committee Social Development. Thank you.
Thank you, Mifro. Can we then go to, because DSD, I don't see anyone.
Sorry, Chair. There is omitted to inform the committee that Mahla Honolo is also here, the one who traveled with us in all the provinces. She's in this meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Yes, we will. Yeah, in fact, we are very happy for her to join us, because really we can't be repeating ourselves or starting afresh in terms of the information. The ones that were with us are very helpful in terms of knowing what was raised in the public hearing. So we really appreciate her presence with us. So it's Mahlonono Yedwa Okoy from DST.
Chair, I'm also here as the special advisor. Thank you, Sabina.
Okay, special advisor. Thank you very much for you. Mahlonono, introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and good morning, members. My name is Matlohonola Subopela. I'm from DSD. Honorable Chair, I have my colleagues with me. I have Advocate Bugaba here in the room with me. Ms. Noktulambofu, she's here with me as well. I have my other colleagues who are connected online. Dr. Mabi is responsible for adoptions. Ms. Masemola, she's responsible for orphans and vulnerable children. I have our colleagues from ministry, Mesibina and Tulani. I have my colleague responsible for the CPR, Dr. Mashiani. Thank you very much, Chair. I would like to tender an apology for my DDG. She's busy chairing another meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mahlonono. At least you are a team. It's not just individuals that are present, which will make our things very easy in the meeting. Best not to keep you so long, so that you can be able to join other commitments. Thanks, DST. Can we go to the adoption of the agenda? Is there anything that we think we have to discuss today, except that those items, in fact, that one of briefing by SALGA, and then discussion, and then close the meeting? Can I see a hand that adopts the agenda? Bridget?
Thank you, Chair. I would like to adopt the agenda, please. Thanks.
Thank you, Tispoon. Can we then carry on by getting a seconder on this?
Seconded, Chair.
Or Honorable Mangani seconds the adoption of the agenda. It means then we go straight to the briefing. The next item is the briefing by SALGA. Mrs. Makanda will give direction who is going to do the presentation, whether she likes to start and give over to whoever, then we are giving them a platform for now. SALGA, over to you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I will lead the presentation and Mandu will be supporting me in responding to the questions, Honorable Chairperson. Further, before I start, let me pass my greetings to you, Honorable Nonkosi Mvana, and to the members of the Portfolio Committee, and to my colleagues in the DSD team, and really appreciate the opportunity granted to us by the Portfolio Committee. What I would like to start with, Honorable Chairperson, is to look into what informs SALGA local government's mandate on ECD. The Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, which provides in the Bill of Rights a broad rights-based policy imperative that applies to all, including children of all ages, which should be promoted, protected, and fulfilled by all spheres of government. And Schedule 4, Part B of the Constitution lists childcare facilities as a local government function. Then the Section 152, Chapter 7 of the Constitution lists the objects of local government, and in subsection 1, the objects are listed as to provide a democratic and accountable government for local communities, ensure the provision of services to communities in a sustainable manner, to promote social and economic development, to promote a safe and healthy environment, and to encourage the involvement of communities and community organizations in the matters of local government. And subsection 2 states that a municipality must strive within its financial and administrative capacity to achieve the objects as set out in section 1. The first issue that has been raised is the lack of support of municipalities to the ECD sector and other children's services with regard to provision of infrastructure, land, sport and recreational facilities, security, as well as basic services, water, sanitation, and electricity. In response, Chairperson, we wish to raise that municipalities' support to ECDs include the following: facilitating their permissions to operate, offer rudimentary services, including access to municipal recreational parks, and where sites are properly zoned and developed in line with local planning schemes, offer access to basic supply of services like water and sanitation. In most smaller municipalities, electricity supply is a shared responsibility with their it's a shared responsibility with ESCOM, and users would have to apply for a connection point and pay for their consumption. Municipalities would in turn offer assistance to any applicant or application submitted to its offices in line with its applicable administrative policies and supply protocols. Municipalities facilitate ad hoc support based on available funds with their limited grants, that is from the equitable share. Collaboration with the Department of Social Development is one of what we do. The challenges that we face are with provision of land in strategic localities for many of local government competing development priorities. This is attributable to the scarcity of land in the custody of municipalities. As such, SALGA has been lobbying in the IGR space, e.g., the Interministerial Committee on Land and other platforms to have the following positions adopted: giving of first right of refusal to a municipality when a state entity or organ is disposing land in our municipal areas, incorporating of municipalities as primary consulted bodies when state is disposing and redistributing its land assets, continuation or rather continuous capacity of municipal planning tribunals with upskilling and resources to better manage land development administrative functions. SALGA has collaborated with other government departments like COGTA and the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development for the provision of support to municipalities to conduct land audits and develop tools to support municipalities to fully comply with SPLUMA requirements, the Special Land Use Management Act, implement strategies based on the SALGA proposed land assembly guide to assemble, redistribute, and dispose of land assets in its jurisdictional areas. The functional areas, that is roles and responsibilities of local government, which are safety and security, include the following: development and enforcement of bylaws which impact on spatial and land use, regulation of space, safety and regulation of public spaces and amenities, management and maintenance of public amenities, targeted crime and violence prevention, programs for the ECD centers, including shelters for other vulnerable groups. SALGA, in partnership with GIZ, the Violent Crime Prevention Section, have developed a draft position paper on community safety within local government that addresses, among other critical issues, the role that bylaws play in ensuring that communities are safe in all aspects of their existence. The position paper calls for a revision of bylaws to ensure that not only are they regulated and controlled, but they're effectively implemented and understood by all members of the respective communities. And the current scenario, Chairperson, is that there is overall weakness in local government in this, hence the position paper that is being developed to be implemented for the next 5 years. SALGA has also partnered with the Private Security Industry Regulation, SERA, as it sees the role that the private security has in preventing loss and or damage to municipal infrastructure is extremely important. Due to the smaller number of police versus the private security industry, it makes it virtually impossible for the police to be visible in the public spaces in the same manner the private security industry is able to. The focus of private security remains crime prevention, whereas police maintain public order, enforce the law, prevent, combat, and investigate crime. The partnership not only focuses on the capacity building of municipalities, but in introducing innovative ways that municipalities can secure and guard their infrastructure. The MOU will further emphasize the need for compliance with the regulations for the security industry. The second issue that was raised, Chairperson, is on exorbitant municipal bills charged to ECD centers. And our response to this, Chairperson, is that municipal funding frameworks create an expectation of raising own revenue to complement the limited grant funding. To do so, municipalities are expected to charge for the services that they provide without making profit. The tariff for municipal service charges form part of consultative budget processes and are adopted annually. The tariff formulation framework that is followed by municipalities demands that they arrive at cost-reflective tariffs, which would enable the institutions to offer services sustainably and not charge less than the actual cost of services, as this will cause unfunded budget and compromise the financial health of the institution. And to this, Chairperson, you would know that most of the municipalities are financially unviable because of lack of collection of revenue and non-payment of services. As SALGA acknowledge and are aware that the challenges of our poor economic growth levels has made it difficult for many citizens to have access to employment and financial resources. This is a situation that we think would require more intergovernmental relations partners like in the local government sector, National Treasury, and the Department of Social Development, and the donor communities to engage and find solution. It cannot simply be resolved by adopting no cost reflecting tariff because they are deemed exorbitant by some customers. On the third issue, Chairperson, on again on exorbitant fees charged for rezoning of land and stringent bylaws, we wish to respond as follows: that there are unavoidable costs to municipalities that underpin the provision and administration of town planning schemes. Some of them are born out of legislative demands placed to municipalities by SPLUMA and other applicable town planning regulatory frameworks and schemes. The zoning and town planning development, the zoning and town planning development control by bylaws are made to protect public interest and to ensure orderly development and rule of law. These laws are at times restrictive to activities that are inconsistent with the adopted spatial development frameworks and town planning schemes. This does not, however, make them stringent only to one sector, that is the early childhood development sector, but rather to all citizens that must comply with local bylaws. There is no evidence that we have seen so far which seem to suggest that any of the existing municipal bylaws are targeting ECDs and made to skewedly bias against them. SALGA would be the first to accept and encourage our members that where such examples exist, those pieces of zoning schemes and applicable bylaws should be revised. On the fourth issue, Honorable Chair, delays from municipalities in issuing documents needed for the registration of ECD centers. And we wish to respond as follows: that the health surveillance of premises, which is where we come in terms of issuing the certificates, is through the municipal health services. And the program of health surveillance of premises is one of the 9 key performance areas under this municipal health services section, performed by an environmental health practitioner employed by a district or metropolitan municipality. The function includes ensuring coordination with related functions such as municipal health services, that is waste management, fire, building regulations, issue certificates to confirm that the facility complies with the national and local building regulations, as well as the structural safety, health requirements of the municipality. The national norms and standards for environmental health do not allow EHPs to issue a certificate of health compliance to early childhood development centers for partial compliance. As such, ECD centers that are not fully compliant with these norms and standards for environmental health cannot be issued with certificate needed for registration of an ECD center. Furthermore, many of the ECD centers are operating on ERFs which are not zoned for ECDs and in proclaimed areas as per different municipalities. Different municipalities' land use schemes, and therefore not meeting the requirements for issuing of health certificate. Even if these premises were to meet the said requirements without proper land use rights, they cannot be issued with the health certificate in the case of environmental health requirements. The current available remedy is for ECD owners or operators to apply for rezoning or consent use depending on the size of the ECD. Upon inspection of an ECD center, the environmental health practitioners issue a report detailing their findings and areas that needs to be remedied by the owner before a certificate of compliance can be issued. While the provision of childcare facilities is a constitutionally allocated function in terms of Schedule 4B of the Constitution, there is no clear funding grant to support the mandate. Municipalities must draw from their equitable share grants to co-fund and from their own revenue. Any actions or priorities in their IDPs dealing with the support to the ECDs. This will always be against competing priorities. This is part of a problem in ensuring sustainable performance of the function. Portfolio committee is requested, as I close, Chairperson, that if on the engagements, there are specific instances where certain municipalities were picked during the hearing that were really not in compliance with the explanation that we have given. We would like to assist in engaging them to unlock the challenges, and with the help of the information available on the portfolio committee, if we could get those specifics, then would definitely help to unlock those bottlenecks. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Nozi. It was brief and to the point. Then, after the briefing, are there any additions from your colleague? I don't think so. They will be.
No, there won't be any additions, Chairperson.
Yes, because it's the presentation that you have given to us that we are doing.
Yes.
Can I check with the members? Here are the hands. Okay. I see Aris, I see Honorable Abrams, I see Honorable Mangani and Kizela and Paulnita. I'll be the last one. Thank you. Can you follow that sequence? Over to you, honorable members.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, I'm not going to be long, I promise you. But I want to find out from SALGA what measures does they have in place to monitor and ensure that the municipality fulfill their obligations in terms of what is in their legislation in terms of ECD. And then also we did hear a lot in the public hearings about land, and she did touch on that. But my suggestion would be that within their spatial development plans, that they must at least make provision that in each and every ward in the country, that there's land available for ECDs. And then also, in terms of the municipality, also do very little for disabled people. And I want to find out what measures they have in place to ensure more is being done in terms of ECDs, in terms of accessibilities to facilities, and specifically also sanitation facilities to people that is living with disabilities. And then also in terms of the obligation, in terms of crime prevention, crime and prevention programs. And I want to find out from them what measures do they have in place to ensure that at least at ECDs, because we did hear also in the public hearings a lot about gangsterism and drug abuse, etc., that, you know, that is going around there where the ECD facilities are. And I want to find out what crime prevention programs or measures they have in place to ensure that those people at the ECDs are safe. And then also I want to find out, as ECDs are registered NPOs, I want to find out from them, why is it that ECDs cannot automatically go on equitable shares? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Aris. The next one is Abrams.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you to SALGA for the presentation. Chairperson, I would like to know what child protection units exist within the municipalities, if any. For example, do municipalities have units that focus on street children? And if maybe after our committee meeting, they can send a list of those municipalities that do have child protection units. And the reason I'm asking this, Chairperson, because I'd like to understand how SALGA, gives effect and implementation to the Children's Act when it comes to the protection of children. And I would also like to know, what does the social worker capacity look like in the various municipalities, and they can, provide that information after the presentation, because I'm not too sure they'll have that. Then, Chairperson, as we know at local government level, basic education does not sit with local government. Whereas we heard there's a health and community service function at local government. So I'd like SALGA to explain to us how they see come next month with the ECD migration to education, how the municipality is planning to engage with basic education to once again give effect to the Children's Act, and then at a later stage also, give effect to that second bill that's going to be coming up on ECDs. My understanding is that they will have to enter into MOUs or SLA agreements with education, but because education is not a local government function, how does SALGA and the municipalities plan to give effect to this bill? Then, Chairperson, it's understandable that norms and standards exist in order to keep our children safe at ECDs. But what often happens is that ECDs, spring up where community members, may see a need to take these children into their care and into an ECD. And I would like to understand, to hear from SALGA, if they support the ECD sector's call, to do away with this one-size-fits-all model when it comes to norms and standards. Because, for example, we take the issue of parking bays. Not all ECDs or ECD programs, let me rather say that, will require, 3-5 parking bays if they are just having a play group established and then the number of children aren't that high. Because as we know, Chairperson, without that registration or conditional registration, ECDs can't access subsidies from government. So I'd just like to hear from them if they would support the ECD in that. Then also, Chairperson, I would like to hear from SALGA. The substance abuse portfolio, they have something called ALDACs, the local drug action committees that report to substance abuse forums. And I'd like to understand if maybe, if the ECDs forums cannot be formalized in the same way the ALDACs are formalized, just to give strength and, a bigger voice and a more, structure to those ECD forums. Then, Chairperson, okay, I've touched on that. I'd also like to know, and they can provide this afterwards, what is the municipal budgets that they give to ECDs? And then, Chairperson, I would also like to know if SALGA can then provide us with a list of costs of, what do these zoning and clearance certificates and health certificates actually cost ECDs, if there are thresholds, if it is, means tested based on the ECD's income. So if they can also provide that list, maybe after the meeting, if they don't have the information. And then just lastly, Chairperson, I do hope that SALGA is going to be invited to our meeting on the 9th of March, where we talk about the migration from DSD to DBE, Chairperson. And then lastly, maybe this is for social development to take note of, but I find it very concerning, Chairperson, that when I look at our last annual report, every single province, Chairperson, sent back money from the ECD conditional grant. And as we heard in the public meetings, there are so many ECDs that are struggling financially with their infrastructure costs. And I just think it's quite shameful that the provinces, sent back money, sent back this ECD conditional grant that they didn't use their entire budgets. Thank you, Chairperson. That is all.
Alex, thank you, Alex. Honorable Mangai.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I also thanks the SALGA presenter. It was just straight to the point. But I want to ask just to maybe to get clarity from them. I understand that land.
I'm sorry, I have
that-
not. Am I the only one that has been cut off? I did not get the first part of Honorable Manganye's question. There was a
I'm
momentary.
saying,
Honorable Mangani.
how, Chair?
Yes.
Hello?
Question? Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Carry on.
Yeah. Okay, sorry for that. I'm saying, Chair?
Yes.
I'm saying when we were on public hearing in Tshwane, the people specifically from Bokonhout, they were complaining about they don't have sites for their ECD. They can't even register because when you register, you need to have the side or the stand side. So I just want to know what is SALGA assisting the municipality, because that land that they have occupied in Tshwane is not for the municipality or the chieftaincy, is for the owner of the stand, because that place belong to individuals that they were collectively have bought the land. So I just want to know how SALGA can assist the municipality to solve this issue of land, so that even children from Bokonhout should have a right to attend the crèches. And then the other one, I wanted to know what is the relationship? I understand is IGR. I want to know specifically if SALGA having this mutual or relationship with the Khosi or Makhosi or chiefs, because most of the land belong to in the rural. I'm speaking as a rural somebody. Because most of the time when we speak about the township and the towns. We forgot to talk more about the most vulnerable people in the rural. Those are the ones that need to be assisted. So I just check how is their relationship with the chiefs. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mangani. And the next hand is Gisela, followed
Thank you,
by
Chairperson.
Paulita. Thank you.
Thank you,
Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to know from SALGA, are there sufficient environmental health practitioners within the 44 districts to deal with the hundreds and thousands of ECD programs? If I take a Namakwa district, my district, for example, my district is bigger than most provinces, but we only have one environmental health practitioner. So I'd like to know, are there sufficient environmental health practitioners within the 44 district to assist the ECDs? And then how many of the 226 local governments currently does have bylaws in place to assist ECDs? And regarding the land issue, are there plans in place to assist the municipalities with their land audits? I know there is a lot of vacant land from other state departments like Public Works that lays dormant, and there's also land that has previously been given to churches and yet not utilized. So I'd like to know, what plans do you have in place to assist municipalities with their land audits? Then the issue of the budgets, Alexander touched on. I want to know, do the municipalities have the financial and administrative capacity to fulfill this mandate? And what support from whom would they need to effectively fulfill this mandate, Chair? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Paulmeet.
Yeah, yes,
And
Chair.
then will be followed by Honorable Masango.
Yeah, I'm going to put my video off because I'm having a problem in storming here the outside. So I'm sitting in my car because in my house I can't hear anything. The thing that I want to ask, Chairperson, the ECDs, a lot of time there's rezoning in the municipalities. And then the owners of the ECDs are not being notified that there's a rezoning. And then I had a case last year where the owner only found out in the newspaper that the land where the ECT center is for sale. And the owner didn't have that kind of money to bid for the land. And the only thing the municipality told this lady is that she must bid for it. I had to go to a legal aid to say, but you cannot remove this lady. She's been here for more than 20 years. And I want to know what is SALGA saying about the rezoning. And the other thing I want to say, Chair, is that the ECDs, some of the ECD centers are sitting on spaces where there's no security. And because of the drug problem that we're having in the communities, that these ECD members, the staff is basically their lives are in danger because they cannot afford to buy, to have a security at the ECD centers. What is SALGA saying about that? And then my other question is that recreational centers for the children. In all the areas in the municipalities, there's no recreational centers for the children. That is why our children are getting involved in drugs and teenage pregnancies and all these things. What is the view of SALGA about that? And then the parks, Chair, is that the parks are being vandalized. They are not being maintained. There is nothing happening in the parks. Children can't even play in the parks because the drug dealers are taking the parks over. What is SALGA saying about that? And then there's a lot of bylaws in the municipality, but the bylaws are not being taken serious because at the board they will say no dumping. There's not a dumping site, but people will dump on that site because no one have been taken to task on that area, chairperson.
Thank you. It's just that I'm in a meeting. Let's quickly talk.
Yes. So the bylaws are there, but
Yes,
there's
you
no
can drop it in
enforcement
the
of the
box. They
bylaws.
will take it up. I'm out of town.
Chairperson, mute, Chair,
Chairperson, can you mute
mute.
yourself?
And then I also want to know the function of law enforcement, because even though law enforcement is there, they sit in the office the whole day. The only time that they are busy is when people are being evicted. But all the other laws are not being enforced, you know. So I want to know what is SALGA doing about that one as well, because things are happening in the communities and law enforcement is nowhere to be found. And the rezoning, and we keep on talking about the spatial development, but it's not happening in the municipalities. It's been in Mangaung for more than 20 years that they're going to have this special development. But till now, nothing is happening within Mangaung itself. And if we talk about health and safety, we're having an issue in Mangaung where sewage has been running for months and months, and Mangaung is doing nothing about it. Our children's lives are at risk because they can get TB and all these sickness that is running around, running stomachs and all these things. What is SALGA saying about it? Because they see that the things are not happening within the municipalities, but SALGA is quiet. It's only when it comes to these conferences and when they have to make a law or something, then you hear SALGA. But basically, SALGA is not really the watchdog of the municipality. They're not doing anything when it comes to things happening in the municipality. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chriselle. You, Polnit. Thank you very much. Honorable members, I think I've got only a comment on this because you have asked questions that are really relevant and reliable, the one from the communities. I just want to say to SALGA, knowing that at least there are new councillors, that is new ward councillors, which I think they are not really aware whether they have to work closely with the ECDs. The challenge that we are experiencing, I think it's the councillors that are really not aware. Can't they try in their meetings, try to, and the IGR platform is also one of the platform that assists people to be aware of some of other things. Really, when the councillors are not aware on how to deal with this, they will just refer communities or practitioners pillar to post and post to pillar. That's what we got from the public hearings. As a result, as we were amending the bill, we were having a clear direction in telling the communities that infrastructure belongs to the municipality. They need to have, I would say, a good relationship with the municipalities so that they can go to municipalities for the assistance. So, yeah, we understand because the new councillors haven't yet put on board kahle, kahle, kahle. So now that's my comment, honorable members. Let's give
Bridget ukhulumi.
Bridget, usesekhona.
Yeah, she
Oh,
raised her
sorry
hand
for
for a
that.
long time.
Okay. I think did the stage when I left phone. Okay, Honorable Masango.
Thank you so much, Chair.
Will be the last one, and then we have to give over to SALGA to answer.
Thank you so much, Chair. I also would like to thank SALGA for this presentation. I also appreciated how straightforward the presentation is because it opens our eyes as we seek to lend the ECD the plight of the ECDs that we heard during the national public provincial public hearings and also at a national level. The question that I have, and it comes from the clarity that one got from the presentation, SALGA is merely saying that the exorbitant charges or monies that are charged to the ECDs that they cannot afford, that is not, from my reading of the presentation and listening to the presenter earlier on, my reading was that SALGA is saying these charges that we are charging are reviewed every year. They are staying, they're not going anywhere. And also we are charging a cost. So the ECDs must just try and get this money to be able to pay those charges. So that for me is an eye-opener in the sense that we need, or at least the basic education department needs to sort of seek to solve this problem, because obviously we have a huge problem on the ground, and the children need to be in ECDs, and the ECD centers or the ECD owners do not have the requisite sort of resources to be able to conform to the national standards, norms and standards, to be able to have these certificates issued to them. I just think that this presentation for me was a very clear-cut presentation that is taking us back to the drawing board, as in fact the Department of Basic Education and the Department of Social Development needs to go back to the drawing board and see how they can actually unlock or make sure that at a local level, the ECDs are given a conducive space to operate, where they will not have to pay the kinds of monies that they were telling us they are having to pay. But also, Chairperson, I just heard, I think it was mentioned maybe 2 or 3 times, where I heard that the issue of ECDs and their needs on the ground has to go, get into the queue of the other competing priorities. And I am asking a question: when are the ECDs going to be prioritized, and other people or other services have to be told that they cannot get the budgets because the ECDs are now being a priority for the local government? Because if we were to take this presentation as is, it does say to me that there is not going to be anything that's going to going to be done about charges that are being charged. There's nothing that's going to be done about the certificates that are so difficult to get. There's nothing that is going to be done about securing land in a sort of lenient, if you like, or an adapted way for the ECDs to get land so that they can have their centers established. So, Chair, for me, I think this presentation is throwing the ball back into our courts or even into the courts of the departments to say we have to do something so that these ECDs can actually find sort of some space to operate at a local level. The other questions that the colleagues have taken care of, but I just would like to thank SALGA a lot for such a sobering presentation, as it were. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Masango, can we then give over to SALGA?
Honorable Chairperson and honorable members, I appreciate the questions that have been raised and some beyond the 4 issues that you came to present. But I guess that then this becomes a session where we get to understand and maybe to get to even understand where some of the issues raised are coming from. I appreciate it. To start with the first one, Honorable Chairperson, I just would like to take time to go through them all. From Honorable Aris, that says, how do we ensure compliance of municipalities and in terms of the functions that are required of them? Honorable Chair, on this one, SALGA is also responsible as part of its mandate to support municipalities indeed so that they are able to achieve what they are required to do. And to that end, we have working groups at a provincial and national level. And at a provincial level, the working groups are attended by all MMC or rather members of the mayoral committees or EXCO members that belong to the community services function and all the other functions of local government. And so it is through those working groups that we bring sometimes even specialists to actually present to municipalities by way of guiding. And we are able to also zoom into some of the issues where there are serious problems and where municipalities are seeking for support, then we're able to come in and support. Again, Chairperson, sometimes it becomes difficult to impose support. It is easier to support a municipality that has requested for support, that is structured exactly where it needs to be requested. Because if you just come and impose support, then you get resistance at that level. So we do try to engage with our municipalities, and where we're picking up problems, especially from the IGR engagements that we do, we're able to then assist municipalities. It is not easy, and we are struggling sometimes in some instances. Then I think I have explained as far as the provision of land is concerned for ECD to say all municipalities have spatial development frameworks, and in the spatial development plan that are adopted as part of the IDP annually. And all pieces of land, all settlements that are planned, there is a spread of ECD allocation across the landscape. And so from the town planning perspective, all pieces of land or settlements would always provide for, because now we have moved away from just building settlements without any additional, without integrating the services that would be required by those that are living in that settlement. So integration is happening, and especially in the newly planned settlement, especially in the existing special development plans that you will find in our IDPs. Again, some of the IDPs, some of the ECD centers would emerge outside the requirements, or rather outside the areas zoned for ECD centers. And that is where then the ECD owners have to apply for rezoning of the area, because if it is not zoned for that function, then they're able to apply for such zoning, and a number of considerations will be taken into before such an ECD is allowed. It must comply definitely to the norms and standards as required, to the building regulations that are there for compliance in the municipalities, that are also adopted as part of the bylaws, against which then the municipality will enforce compliance. And then of course the norms and standards for health that the environmental health practitioners get to also monitor on an annual basis sometimes, and I'll talk to why on the question that has been raised in terms of that. Access to facilities, in particular for the disability sector. Facilities in terms of our municipalities, I presume, Honorable Aris. Of course, the Department of Labor, working with municipalities, and this is something that as SALGA we've also been influencing municipalities to change and adapt their buildings to meet the standards that would ensure that there is access. And depending on the resources, and then mechanisms are made for municipalities to get access. Some of the municipalities where there have been stairs to get to buildings have developed lifts, have constructed lifts where the buildings are multi-storied. And so it is still work in progress. It is not yet perfect in all the settings, but mechanisms to come and meet the stakeholders and the community members where they are in order to speak to the person they would have wanted to speak to are made in municipalities. And on crime, sanitation facilities, of course, Honorable Chairperson, where like especially in urban settlements, where any settlement that is established or that is there, then there is a system already in place in terms of the underground services, your water and electricity, and so access to such then would be available. But then there would be informal settlements, ECD centers that are in informal settlements where there are no such services. Municipalities are at different levels of implementing this in terms of upgrading the informal settlements, and depending on their plans again, that is where they're at in terms of providing the waterborne facilities. They would, through the district municipalities that are the provider and authority of the sanitation services, water and sanitation services, then they would establish temporary pit latrines whilst the waterborne system is not yet installed in a place. And again, that is depending on the varying amount at which the budget for such is allocated in a municipality at a given financial year. On crime prevention, Honorable Chair, of course, crime prevention is a nightmare in all of our, in fact, it has gone beyond just the urban settlements. Even in rural areas, crime is a serious concern. And at a municipal level, we have what is called a security cluster, which is an IGR structure, wherein the municipal police, which are available in metros, in the case of metros, the 8 metros have a municipal police department, and you don't really have that in the rest of the other municipalities. In district municipalities, the function, I mean, in local municipalities, the law enforcement function that is related to the police function, it relates to traffic control, and as well as then the enforcement of bylaws by peace officers. Now, as far as crime is concerned, then crime becomes a responsibility of the South African Police Services. And so we engage with subs, and we assist through the ward councillors in the public participation fora to ensure that they are working community policing forum. And as I've reflected in the presentation, we are also now working with the Civilian Police Secretariat to establish community safety forum and to kind of institutionalize community safety, as it is affecting every aspect of municipal planning. If you're planning for sports facilities, then you should factor in community safety. If you're planning for any project, community safety should be factored in. So we've developed a position paper that we are now going to be taking to municipalities for implementation and phasing it in during the 5 years. And that is the work that we're doing with the GIZ. And of course, gangsterism is one of the concerns. So what councillors, as part of their subcommittees, they do have then the safety and security subcommittee, then that works with the security cluster in terms of bringing, or rather trying to resolve with the community the crime-related problems that are affecting not only ECD centers, but generally the community. Now, on ECDs as NPOs getting automatically the equitable share, again, I understand the question from Honorable Aris as saying that in a municipal setting, you would have your equitable share budget allocation ring-fenced for ECD. And I think that is what the question is saying. So that would be the only automatic mechanism then to have then the ECDs getting direct access. But then again, the equitable allocation would, currently it is not ring-fenced for ECD. And so it is dependent because we do not, from the equitable share allocation, we municipalities would, on the basis of the priorities, distribute the funding accordingly. And then the allocations would be made from that as well as from the own revenue. And I think that is reflected also in the presentation. And perhaps then with National Treasury, that is something that can be discussed both maybe at an IGR level with GSD, DBE, as well as the ECT sector. Then Honorable Abrahams has talked of, asked about child protection units in municipalities and requested that we provide information in terms of their existence. Again, this is in metros, you would find such, and it is a function that is also shared, that is led by the municipal police, the metro police in this instance. But in the district and local municipalities, this function is mainly the responsibility of SAPs. And as such, then the local municipalities would cooperate with SAPs in terms of that. And again, the structuring of the municipalities at a local level is such that the children are under the special programs unit in the offices of the executive mayors and mayors, and as such become a function that is catered for in terms of that office. But when you go to metros, then you will find a social development a directorate or unit. And now I've learned that in some metros, the social development unit is merged with community services. And then there would be a desk that is focusing on children. So it is in metros where you find that the ideal situation where children actually get a focus on. But when you go down to districts and municipalities, it is a function that rests under the special programs unit in the offices of the mayors. Now, we will have to then, Honorable Abrahams, then just get information from the metros in terms of the existing centers, child protection centers in municipalities. As I've said, they're mainly run by SAPs working with the Department of Social Development. Then again, how does SALGA give effect to the Children's Act in terms of protecting the children? And again, I would have to then make reference to the community safety forums that through the SALGA position on community safety we are going to form. But currently the current arrangement is simply through the community policing forums that where SAPS is working with the communities, and councillors and ward committees are part of such to ensure that the community policing forums are effective, but they become a responsibility of SAPS and we become a stakeholder as local government in terms of that. And what councillors then tend to chair, as I've indicated, that subcommittee. And where, in terms of the migration of the function to basic education, we are making, we're currently part of the technical team as SALGA with the Department of, with GSD and DBE. in terms of looking into the issues that have been raised on the Children's Amendment Bill, and were part of also formulating the Second Amendment Bill. But GPE is yet to convene a session with SALGA that would actually then engage us in terms of the GPE taking over the function, and then having then an understanding between GPE and ourselves on how then we're going to work moving forward, as we have been doing with the Department of Social Development over time. And so I presume then that the MOUs would then emerge out of those engagements. Apologies for that. Then on norms and standards for safety, I think key to that is the protection of children to ensure that the building that they are in is meeting the building requirements, which then the building regulations of a municipality would guide in terms of that. And again, as indeed, ECDs will spring up when needed. And of course, as SALGA, we would support a differentiated approach on the assessment of the ECDs, and depending on the areas that they're operating in. You would have ECDs in rural areas, ECDs in informal settlements, and then ECDs in suburbs and ECDs in towns. And so a differentiated approach would definitely be supported so that we do not have a one size fits all. And I think that is one of the discussions that we are making, even as we are deliberating into the second Children's Amendment Bill. On substance abuse, the local drug action committees. This has just been introduced to local government. We had the campaign led by Nomcebo Dlamini, and we have in all our provincial conferences, especially to take on board the new leadership of local government, which I must say, honorable members, that the current local government leadership is almost 80% new, made up of 80% of new councillors. And so the campaign led by Nomcebo Dlamini has been made. They've presented to all our provincial conferences, and as part of the councillor induction program that is also rolling on, we will also be bringing them into the community services induction for the portfolio committees on community services. So that the offices of the mayors in all municipalities then get to form the local drug action committees. And of course, it would be so ideal if ECD forums would really be formed and be part of the stakeholders of the municipalities, because all the forums, municipalities get to register all the stakeholders that exist in their spaces at a ward level, at a local municipality level, and even at a district level. It would be great if the ECD forums would then register as a stakeholder within the municipality, so that they become attendees to the IDP forums that are chaired by the mayor on a quarterly basis. And then that is where they can be able to have a platform to present the plight of the ECD sector into the municipality, and factor in the issues of ECD into the planning of the municipality as part of the IDP engagement processes. As a forum, it is an ideal situation that they find themselves participating there. And so we would encourage to this respect that the governance, the good governance working group would factor in the ECD forums as part of those forums that must be recognized at a local government level. And all they need to do is to present themselves into the offices of the mayor in the special programs unit. They get registered in as members of the ITP forums of the municipalities, both at a ward, local municipality, and district and metro levels. Now, in terms of the budget, we would have again to come back and look into the Fiscal and Finance Committee section of SALGA to actually get us the statistics in terms of what is the current outlook of the ECD budget in the municipalities. But honored members, I wish to share with you that as SALGA, we are also concerned and are taking up issues of ECD. And to that end, we have an understanding. We're in the process of establishing an MOU with the Nelson Mandela Foundation, which has indicated as part of their campaign, Bangasali. And so part of that campaign they are going to help us train municipalities to understand and work with the ECD Center. And with that, it is a campaign that we wish to lead in the next coming 5 years, partnering with the Nelson Mandela Foundation. And of course, we would have, Honorable Aris, I'm sorry, Honorable Abrams, when it comes to the costs and the tariff structures in local government, municipalities are their own legal entities and they're autonomous, and then they determine their tariffs and their budgets based on their own needs. And so you will not have tariffs even on the water and rates and electricity. You will not have municipalities with the same tariffs. And as such, on this one, we would have to maybe get an average cost of what the land rezoning fees are like across the country in the 257 municipalities. And we would appreciate then, again, definitely the invitation to the engagement on migration to the DBE. The next question, Honorable Manganyi, is on the issue of land in Bogon, in Tshwane, Bogonound, I think, for sites for ECD. You see, what I will have to also get into the details of what is happening, also by checking with the relevant department, with the city of Tshwane, to be able to really provide an accurate answer on this one. But needless to say, there is a differentiation in terms of the boundary of land between the rural, which is owned by traditional leadership, and the one that is owned by the municipality. And then for people that have their own land within the jurisdiction of either the rural or traditional leadership, as well as the municipal land, then they are guided in an urban settlement by the land use management, a dispensation of that space. And so in terms of the land use management and the zoning schemes, then that would guide. And that is why then one would apply to a municipality for rezoning if a particular piece of land, and in terms of where it is allocated, does not meet the zoning requirements as wanting to be practiced. In a rural setting with traditional leaders, all you need to do is to go to the headman and make your application as an ECD, and it is not a difficult question when it comes to traditional leadership. And in terms of our relationship, I guess I'll respond in terms of that with traditional leadership in two contexts. The first one is that traditional leadership with government in general, in as far as the Spatial Land Use Management Act, there is a general rejection by the traditional leadership of the Spatial Land Use Management Act as promulgated by government, on the basis that they were not properly consulted as traditional leaders. And they think that municipalities want to interfere in governing what should happen into their pieces of land. As SALGA, we have had to come kind of in between to engage with traditional leaders, because PROMA has been promulgated, and now tribunals have been formed. But now, just for municipalities to understand that in their planning processes, especially when they affect the rural spaces, then traditional leaders have to definitely be part of those tribunals and to be trained, and so that they are part of determining the developmental needs of the communities in as far as those pieces of land are concerned. So in as far as individual municipalities then working with traditional leaders effectively, then that is working in some instances. But where municipalities and traditional leaders don't see eye to eye, you'll find that development then becomes stifled. So it is a work in progress. And Inkosikazi Mhlauli, as she was speaking to SALGA at the opening of the conference, also indicated the need to really come and bring in practical solutions and work with SALGA during this term to ensure that the outstanding issues and matters that are still making them unhappy as far as PROMA is concerned are handled. So as far as that is concerned, we do have, Honorable Manganyi, a relationship with traditional leaders, although it is not always working very well in all municipalities. Like, for example, when municipalities want to develop a landfill site outside, on the outskirts of the town, on spaces of land that are owned by traditional leaders, it is a challenge, because traditional leaders would want proper developments in their spaces, that especially that are on the buffer zone into the city. So if you want then to put a landfill site in that, then you get to be in a fight with the traditional leadership. But those are some of the matters that we continuously engaging them on, and that individual municipalities get to then engage the traditional leaders as members of their council and the stakeholders well into the governance of the municipality. Honorable Opperman is raising a very critical question on EHPs. Are they sufficient? And the direct answer is no. The function is a metro and a district in terms of the constitution. And right now, as we're speaking, the World Health Organization ratio is 1:10,000, 1 EHP per 10,000 population. But currently we have an average of 1:35,000, which is highly difficult, and it makes it almost impossible for the environmental health practitioners to render the function effectively and to do the necessary monitoring of the properties and in terms of assessing the compliance standard, such that sometimes the turnaround times is only once a year. They are able to go once a year, and sometimes they are not even able to see if to monitor timeously if the proposed requirements that they had recommended to be instituted have been done. So the answer there is no. To that effect, we hosted a national environmental health indaba in 2021 in September. As SALGA partnering with the National Department of Health, who are the custodians of the National Health Act, and under which then the environmental health is under, even the Environmental Health Act is also under the National Health Act. And we are all in agreement. We have also invited National Treasury as part of that, and COCTA, because when we're looking into the distribution of functions or the allocation of functions, sometimes because of the failure of districts, because they do not have the resources, again, it goes back to the issue of priorities, and that when municipalities will prioritize services that are revenue generating, and would believe that when allocating human resources and even budget and even tools of trade to the environmental health practitioners, they are not prioritized, although it becomes a function that is actually so critical to the health of the nation in terms of containing and controlling the spread of communicable diseases in the communities and for the general health of the community. This is a very critical function that municipalities should understand. And so we were trying to also in INDAB bring it to say we also would want to have this function actually at the allocation ring-fenced by National Treasury, so that municipalities actually use that allocation. So to that end, we have I would share at a later stage with the committee the findings that we have made in terms of the status of environmental health in municipality, which is very in a precarious condition. And between us, the National Department of Health, National Treasury, and COCTA, we have all agreed that something has to be done. And to that effect, we have adopted resolutions that will guide us as we plan in the next 5 years on how we correct what is currently there on the ground. Then in terms of bylaws for ECDs, you know, for the environmental health sector and then the bylaws that are governing environmental health, you would have generally there are norms and standards as prescribed in the Children's Act that the sector and the municipality know that the sector must comply with. And then there are building regulation standards and bylaws associated therewith. And then there are also environmental health standards that norms and standards that also all businesses and sectors in a given municipality must comply with. And so in terms of that, then you get to have then bylaws established. right now from off-carve, I can't really say how many bylaws we have, but municipalities do have those bylaws. And actually, as SALGA again, out of concern on the challenges that we see as far as bylaw implementation, in fact, we are concerned as all the citizens of the country on the state of lawlessness in the country. And I think all of you honorable members are concerned as well as lawmakers, as we should all be. And I think our communities are concerned. But then in terms of the state of lawlessness, there's also the issue of obeying the stated laws, and bylaws are one of that. And so we're working with right now, as part of what we've been doing as we're closing this term, we're establishing a document that actually tells us on the state of law enforcement in local government in terms of what the capacity is, what the capacity gaps are, and what law enforcement agencies do we actually have. Like I said, when it comes to environmental health, you must have then what you call peace officers that will constantly monitor the compliance in the facilities. But do we have that as required? If we have fewer environmental health practitioners as required by the World Health Organization's norms, then it means even in peace officers, we then have a challenge in terms of the compliance with such. And so the work on what we're doing on the state of law enforcement as far as bylaws are concerned in the local government sector is one of the things that we are doing. And by the way, we've also participated in the SAPS amendment bill that has also included municipal police as part of the structures of law enforcement, so that at least not only metros, but at least municipal police would also be recognized even in secondary cities. And then, of course, then guided by the functions in Schedule 4B and 5B of the Constitution in terms of what local government's role on law enforcement is. Then on land, I think we've indicated on the plans, on the land audit, that at IGR we're currently working now in terms to support local government in terms of land audit. And as indicated, land in the custody of municipalities is very minimal. We depend entirely on the on state departments that have land as proposed here on the challenges that to say, where in the interministerial committee on land, we are engaging them to say, give local government the first right of refusal to a municipality when there is a state or organ or entity that is disposing land in our municipality, because most of the land in the municipal space is in private hands or in national and provincial government hands. And so we want municipalities to be incorporated as primary consulted bodies when there is such a disposal or restitution of a land asset, so that we can be able to provide for the plans that would meet the requirements, even including that of those of the ECT centers. And also really the general capacity of our tribunals, planning tribunals, and generally the SPLUMA tribunals that are determining the plans of a town. We would definitely want capacitation in terms of those, and that is ongoing. So we are hoping that as the term is rolling out, a land audit through the partners that we are working with would have been completed. But just from off the cuff right now, municipal land is very minimal, and it is very difficult for a municipality to plan then on the land available. We can only squeeze in all the requirements that we have on the land that is owned by the municipality, and then we get to work sometimes with those and get to buy from those that own land for development, who sometimes want to work with the developers directly so that they get the best price for the land that they own, which is then a challenge. In terms of the financial and administrative capacity to fulfill the mandate and for ECD in particular, and the support required by local government in terms of like from whom and where. Honorable Oberman, I would have to say here, indeed, we do have challenges. We do have pockets of excellence in local government where there is adequate compliance and adequate fulfillment of the mandate, especially in the city, in the city center. And I've said metros, although there are challenges in metros, but metros are doing far better in terms of ECT focus. And then we have to work with local municipalities that are also kind of working, and then depending on the size of the municipality and the budget available and the demand on the ground in terms of what is required for service delivery, then you have such allocation. And obviously, Section 156 of the Constitution coupled with Section 154 enjoins national and provincial government to support local government on functions where local government is struggling with. And in this instance, we would have the Department of Social Development that we have been working with over time that would come in and support and allocate funding sometimes and allocate some of the budget directly to municipalities to be able to render the function. I think Honorable Paul Knight, on rezoning, owners not notified on the sale of land where an ECT center is allocated. It would be, this is unfortunate, and I guess this is where ECT forums would come in as members participating in the IDP rep forum of the municipality. It would assist the ECT forums to be aware of what the municipality is planning. But you would expect that as a recognized stakeholder, they would also, they qualify for the second right of refusal or of offering a proposal if they are found in a specific piece of land. So definitely, I agree with you, Honorable Paul Knight, that we do need, I mean, the intervention that you've made in terms of that ECT center, for example, I hope it did work such that whatever the municipality is planning would have considered either reallocating the ECD or negotiating with those, indicating with those that would be the buyers of that land, the existence of an ECD center, or at least consultation in terms of all those that are participating in that piece of land. So it is definitely something that should have been done as a matter of courtesy. The security in ECD centers and generally security, I'd say, would municipalities have capacity, given the spread of the ECD centers in the landscape? Would they have capacity, for example, to procure security services for all the ECD centers? And the answer I can tell you now is no. It would be very difficult because sometimes municipalities are barely managing to actually secure some of the facilities, and we're relying on technology. Hence, we're bringing in here the partnership with CIRA and the partnership with the private sector to also bring in technology so that we use technology as a means or as a mechanism of providing security. And we're hoping that as part of, like in metros, it helps that at least cities are part of the broader cities, and then where there are CCTV footages. And when you go to rural municipalities, that is very difficult. And then we rely, when it comes to crime prevention, on subs as well as on the community policing forums and all the structures that are formed by communities in terms of the security needs of a particular area. And so currently, indeed, it is a concern that ECD centers would be caught sometimes in the crossfire of gangsters fighting over a territory, and then Metropolis in terms of those instances would come in working with subs, and we have also infused in the subs amendment bill the ability of the Metropolis to also kind of carry out crime investigations, because currently we do not have that function. It only resides with subs. But when it comes to the work that we're doing with GIZ in terms of the violent crime prevention and community safety, we're hoping that the position paper that has been adopted and that we're going to be rolling out and workshop municipalities and councillors on is going to assist us in terms of that. I totally agree. We have a challenge across the country in most of the municipalities. There are pockets of excellence again where recreational facilities and parks are actually secure. Some have CCTV footages with even Wi-Fi in the bigger cities, and so they are really amenable, and children are able to play in a safe environment. But generally, there is a general attack on the children community in the country, which is a serious concern. And you never know now who can abduct a child and harm and kill a child at any given moment, because they come dressed in suits. And so it becomes a whole community approach to really deal with the issue of the safety of children in communities. And local government is at the center of such coordination. And such coordination would be done working with the security cluster as well. It is a challenge indeed that parks are vandalized. And sometimes municipalities do not keep up with the scale at which parks are vandalized, because sometimes the first thing to be destroyed would be the lights. And they get to be very expensive to restore and maintain, given the competing priorities that are there. And definitely, I think I've spoken to the issue of bylaws that are not taken seriously. It speaks to the state of lawlessness in the country and the general disregard to anything law by the members of the community at large and at all levels. And it is not just the ordinary members of the community. Everyone in our society will have a general challenge that needs a mindset in the community. Then the law enforcement and them sitting in offices. Again, this one comes in indeed. Sometimes it does happen, Honorable Paul Knight, that the law enforcement officers are not always spread out and visible in communities, largely because of their numbers and sometimes because of their capacities, sometimes because even of lack of the tools of trade. Like they would need cars to patrol, and sometimes the fleet is just not allowing them in some municipalities. And so it is unfortunate that they would emerge only in those serious instances, but it would be desirable to have the law enforcement functionaries in a local space visible. But again, we are not responsible for crime prevention per se. That is the responsibility of SAPS. On rezoning, and I think I've spoken about this. There's regulation. There's SPLOMA now that is kind of swallowed up most of the rezoning schemes that were there, and so through SPLOMA and the other rezoning regulations that are there, definitely spatial planning is utilized, and as indicated, all the IDPs. For an IDP document to be compliant, it must have a spatial development plan and guided by the spatial development framework in that specific municipality. So all municipalities would have that. Now it becomes incumbent then on those that have an interest to actually find the document and look for the spatial development framework and what it provides, and where necessary would challenge what is lacking in the spatial development framework in the quarterly IDP forum. That would then inform the revision of that framework for the next financial year. The issue of challenges in Mangaung as far as rezoning is concerned and development, spatial development, then it becomes an issue of governance. Then in a particular of challenges in governance, just like sewerages. As SALGA were concerned, when municipalities are unable to prevent leakages, unable to intervene and stop the sewerage that is spreading on our streets as well as in our water sources. And we always work with our partners that are responsible for supporting municipalities where there is a struggle, and would get into to actually look at where the challenges are in as far as that is concerned. So it becomes a challenge that the general health of the community, which is also our responsibility, must be protected by ensuring that there are no sewerage spills. So we condemn that when it happens, definitely. And I would have to disagree with you, Honorable Member, when you're saying SALGA only speaks in conferences. SALGA participates and is visible in the IGR platforms, including parliamentary committees, including ministerial briefings, including in the NCOP. And we do share our views. And as indicated in municipalities, in most municipalities were hands-on, literally supporting municipalities according to the areas where they've defined the support that they needed, and would rope in and work with the other IGR partners like your National Treasury, as well as COCTA, in terms of assisting municipalities where they are needed. We remain the voice and the reliable voice of local government as guided by our mandate in terms of the Constitution, and we play our role. And we believe so far we are doing well, Honorable Member. And we get municipalities to participate in our working groups, and we get to we get to have national and provincial members assemblies in between conferences to make decisions. And we also develop position papers to guide municipalities. And we have what we now have as the councillor, which is linking to the next question that has been raised by Honorable Masango and elsewhere, and by the chairperson, to say, how do you deal with new councillors that are coming in? We have the integrated councillor induction program. As soon as the councils were inaugurated in November 2021, SALGA rolled out an integrated councillor induction program to workshop and train councillors on what is required of them as public representatives. In terms of the legislation that guides the work that they're supposed to do. And so that program is almost concluding. And that was the generic legislation in local government and all the powers and functions of local government. And we've partnered with COCTA and National Treasury and other partners that are interested to actually roll out that induction. And now we are where in provinces where that is done, we are now currently getting into actually portfolio focused induction training. And we've decided that in this time around, we are going to have what is called the orientation, the introduction, just to get them to understand that is the portfolio heads and the portfolio committees in municipalities to understand what they're expected to be doing in terms of community services, for example, and in community safety, in social development, in et cetera, those that are responsible for the municipal finances. We get to workshop them on their roles and bring in the legislation that affects their operations and the IGR partners that they are going to be working with. And we are happy that we're partnering with some of the sector departments in terms of that. For example, for municipal health services and in the community services directorate, we are working with National Department of Health, with SANAC, with I think we've already brought in even TSD in terms of the social development issues, and we are working with a whole lot of other sector departments as partners now in the councillor portfolio induction program. We've done this in the past, but we are kind of consolidating it even more now to be more effective. That beyond the orientation, we are developing and have developed induction manuals that would become the handbooks to guide the councillors throughout the term. And we'll continue making reference to the handbook as we do training. And we have both this kind of training, which is not really accredited, and then we're bringing in accredited training from other service providers that would kind of incorporate some of the key functions to ensure that they understand exactly what they need to do. Then, so we are working in terms of with the IGR partners to definitely develop councillors and get them to understand. There is an issue raised that sometimes, okay, the understanding. So we're hoping that now at this stage, all ward councillors understand their roles, because it has been infused in the first phase of the councillor induction program. So they all understand their roles now, and critical to that role is that they're actually mayors or presidents of their communities, so to speak, and they're leaders of government in their communities, and they should coordinate government work in their communities and be able to respond to the community on all the government functions that are actually taking place in their wards. That is the emphasis that was made in the induction program. Then Indeed, Honorable Masango, on the, I appreciate, we try to focus on the questions as requested, so appreciate the comments by the members in terms of our presentation being straightforward. And our responsibility is to give an overall picture of what the mandate of local government is in the respective function. And then it becomes then the function of the ECD forum in individual municipalities. But I'll tell you, as SALGA have coordinated as well the ECD sector, are working with Abotesa and also trying to get into where the areas of difficulties are as far as the ECD sector is concerned, so that we can be able to intervene with municipalities. And we have convened joint sessions as SALGA with the ECD sector and municipalities to actually raise those issues where the ECD sector gets frustrated in their operations in municipalities. And in terms of the tariffs, obviously, that would have to be an understanding established between the forum of the sector and the municipality. But generally, when it comes to the tariff structure, then it becomes then the responsibility of individual councils to determine the tariff structure and where they would waive the tariff structure based on what has been required or rather requested on the operations on the ground. And so I guess the ECD, the plight of the ECD also would not be a one-size-fits-all in terms of such a waiver where in a municipality that would be allowed. So such a waiver would then be determined on a case-by-case basis. And then such would then be a council resolution that would be outside, because council determines the tariff structure. So it would be by council resolution that there would be a waiver of the tariff structure of certain sectors of the community, with reasons, good reasons that would be given as motivation. And so apologies then, I did not, we presented not to appear to be intransigent to the needs of the ECD sector, but to reflect what the legislation is providing in terms of the mandate across the local government sector, and that the legislation is not, municipalities do not intentionally target the ECD sector and to frustrate it per se, but then negotiations would have to happen on a case-by-case basis. And our intervention would come in as we engage with the sector as well. Definitely, working with the department, I totally agree with you that moving forward and being part of the technical committee that the portfolio committee advised that we form with GBE and DSD, at least we are trying to come to agreements, although then we have to make proper engagements in terms of then bringing municipalities on board. We are engaging municipalities as well, progressing on the second amendment, and of course they will still get a chance to comment again once the draft is done. But we've tried to bring in their interests into what we are currently formulating as the second amendment bill. But we definitely will have to engage at an IGR level with DBE as we have done with TSD. And again, local government in terms of the municipalities would be differentiated in terms of their size and budget capacity on the interventions that they're able to do. And that is where then section 154 and 156 would come in from the responsible provincial and national department to support and rescue the function where local government is struggling to fulfill its mandate in terms of that. Honorable, oh, okay, it looks like, okay. I think on, okay, the queue of priorities, yes. It remains that, unfortunately, there is a queue of priorities, and depending on the needs as determined in the IDP consultations in the municipality, ECD and the vulnerable groups are that. But we are really working hard, and Mando is going to come in here in terms of the frameworks that we're establishing to mainstream vulnerable groups, so that their interests take precedence in the planning of the municipality. So I would like to then maybe have Mando come in and kind of respond in terms of this one. How do we plan on getting vulnerable groups getting the focus they deserve in the processes of the municipality. Please come in, Mandu.
Okay, thank you, Nozi, and thank you as well, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members. I hope, yeah, Ono is working. Okay, just in responding to what Nozi is requesting me to talk to, what we are developing or working on is it's a framework. We are calling it an integrated framework to assist municipalities to respond to issues of vulnerable groups, and that cuts across in terms of children, in terms of the youth, in terms of women, gender issues, in terms of persons with disabilities, as well as older persons, because we are currently using the stats as a definition of vulnerable groups. And we are doing this based on the realization that municipalities tend to deal with issues of vulnerable groups as events. To say, we're waiting for a youth day and then something gets done, but the actual integration into the plans, budgets, and processes of municipalities is still not happening at the scale that we desire. And the approach to this framework is that we introduce the legislation to the municipalities that talks to the particular vulnerable group, and also outline what is it that the municipalities need to be doing around in that space. And then what we then did further over and above was to then engage with sector departments to say, please assist us as SALGA as we work on this document. Come on board. This is the content that we have developed. For example, in relation to persons with disabilities, we engage with the Department of Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities. So looking across the three areas since they are in the department. Please look at the content that we have put together based on the challenges that you are currently experiencing by working with municipalities. What is it that we need to put in place to enable municipalities to understand their role and to ensure that as we build their capacity, it's in line. It's not just general content that just talks in terms of the issues, but exactly in outlining the role. So in short, honorable members, that is the document that Nozi is referring to, and it's based on the fact that initially the approach used to be just to have one framework or guidelines that would talk to, for example, issues of what can I say, gender. And we realize that when we keep doing that, it's seen as if gender or issues of women is just one aspect. And the message that we're just trying to put across is to say, when you talk mainstreaming in particular, and these issues are automatically addressed as you do your plans, as you do your IDPs, as you do your SDPs as municipalities. It's not about providing an additional budget, but by addressing those issues right at the onset, then it means the issues of the vulnerable groups, as per the categories that I've outlined, would be, incrementally included and addressed in the plans and processes of municipalities. So in short, Chairperson, that is in summary the framework that we are working on. Can I stop there, Nozi? But I also wanted to say something separately in responding to them. Yes. To the questions, just a general remark, if I'm allowed.
Yes, you are allowed.
Oh, thank you, Chair. I think my issue, I think Nozi went through the questions, all of them, because as she was speaking, I was also ticking what I had noted on my side. But I think the request or the recommendation that we're also putting to the committee was to, if it would assist if we get those specific occurrences in relation to, the specific areas, so, and then would then utilize the platform that Nozi mentioned at the beginning, our governance structure. So if we know that in Mpumalanga, these are the areas, these are the issues, and then we can be able to engage through the provincial chairpersons of those governance structures and engaging with municipalities in addressing the occurrences that have been indicated or mentioned or highlighted during the briefings. And I think that would assist us as well as SALGA in terms of monitoring whether there is any progress and how are municipalities responding, where they also need capacity in some of those areas, and over and above also rope in the relevant sector departments, be it at DBE or DSD or Department of Health, to come on board in terms of assisting with those occurrences. Thank you, Chairperson. I think that is all from my side.
Thank you very much, SALGA. Can I check whether the honorable members would like to have some bite for the follow-ups? Can I give that opportunity for the members? Seemingly there is no hand. Oh, I only see Honorable Masango's hand. Over to you, Honorable.
Thank you so much, Chair. I put my hand up whilst we were getting whilst Ms. Malani was responding, because I realized that she said the framework she's talking about is being worked on. My request was going to be, is it available for us to have a copy of? But I realized that it's being worked on, and it probably might be an internal thing that is not for members' consumption, as it were. I just need that confirmation, please.
Okay. Can you respond, SALGA, just to that?
On that, Honorable Chairperson, we are finalizing the framework. As soon as we get the input of all the role players, and then get it adopted by our governance structures internal in SALGA, then we'll be in a position to share it. Because before we actually take municipalities and get it to be sent to municipalities, it must be adopted by the SALGA governance structures. So we're hoping that even as this year is unfolding, it would be concluded, so that by 1st July, we're able to start getting municipalities to implement it. And as soon as it is ready, we'll definitely share it with the portfolio committee, because the portfolio committee has an interest in it, definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
There is the presentation from SALGA, honorable members. I don't see any hand for now. Maybe honorable members have. Honorable J.
Hayi Chair, ndiyacima kwangoku ndiqole iseflight.
Okay. All right. Lindy, is there anything that is being left out?
No, Chair. The SALGA responded to. We are in your hands to close the meeting. There's nothing else for discussion.
Okay. Let me thank everyone in a meeting, those that managed to join the meeting and those that, like SALGA, who presented to us. I don't think the doors are closed by SALGA. If there is anything someone thinks about it, we know the procedure and the processes to again forward to SALGA to assist us. But the reality of the matter, I could pick it up really. There are things that the presenters can't just say. The results or the answers will be like this. I could pick it up, like in terms of the bills, in terms of the infrastructure, because really we were generalizing. We never said this and this, except the one that was raised by Honorable J of Tshwane. Let me again once more thank everyone in a meeting, the officials, DSD, the SALGA team, the honorable members, the backup support, everyone is being thanked. Seemingly, it's 11 o'clock now. What time is it? It's 11, eh? Yeah, we are good. We are just on time. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Happy Friday.
Thank you, Chairperson. Enjoy your weekend.
The same to you. Same to you. Bye, honorable members.
Happy Friday with these meetings. Hi, Chairperson.
No, these meetings are not gonna be every Friday.
It's exhausting, man.
Yo, we are tired.
Friday we do have a lot of things.
Yeah, you're nice.
So bringing in this, is too much.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, have a good
we're done
weekend.
with these presentations for now. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. Letitia.
Honorable members, can I end the meeting?
With pleasure, darling.
I'm gonna end. Enjoy your weekend, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.